Thomas counted the ceiling cracks in the church basement for the sixth time during dinner service. 37 hairline fractures radiated from the fluorescent light like the gilt-edged pages of Linda's leather-bound hymnal. His fork trembled over canned creamed corn when Doris from across the street dug her elbow into his ribs. "Melinda's wearing that new reindeer sweater," she whispered, her breath smelling of peppermint lozenges. "Knitted herself, can you believe?" Tom nodded, slipping his wedding ring hand into his jacket pocket. His pinky found the worn edge of the wallet photo. Linda at Malibu 87, her laugh still capable of making his heart thump to a rock beat even in memoriam. Rain drummed the tin roof like impatient wedding guests as volunteers served dessert. Red jello slid across his paper plate, staining the cross-stitched Bible verse napkin crimson. Tom stood so suddenly his chair screeched against linoleum. "Leftovers for 40 years later," he muttered, zipping his Columbia windbreaker bought at a Veterans Day clearance. His Honda Accord sat patiently beneath the parking lot lamp, back seat piled with unread bar exam journals and a thermos of cold coffee. Home greeted him with silence, broken only by the cuckoo clock's hourly scold, their silver anniversary gift now keeping time for one. He polished his glasses with his shirt tail as sprinklers outside mimicked monsoon rains. The ZZ plant in its ceramic pot waved leaves at him, sole survivor of their marriage's slow withering. "Luxury tax of loneliness, why $1,900 monthly," he announced to the glass coffee table scattered with bills. An Asheville, NC relocation folder lay open beside his lisinopril bottle. His hand found the remote. 11:47 p.m. Star Trek credits rolling. Spock's logic lecture dissolved when Crash shook the house. The spruce. Their first spring together, Linda planting it barehanded in April mud. Now it lay across the lawn crushing 2003's Lowe's purchased duck-adorned fence. Tom stood in March rain wearing moose slippers, gripping his flashlight like Captain Kirk's phaser. His Apple Watch blinked. 112 BPM. "Insurance deductible only covers 30%, he mumbled next morning at Timber-to-Your-Door repair shop. A Metallica-capped teen fixing a truck across the street offered help for half price. Tom almost refused until spotting the "Hey Jude" tattoo on the kid's wrist. As they hauled trunk wood to the pickup, ice crystals bit through gardening gloves. The teen suddenly chuckled. "Y'all got a whole graveyard of memories under there, sir." March rain hid Tom's tears until they'd soaked his collar. That night, he sat amidst fragile boxes, sorting conference badge collections. A Quaker Oats carton froze him mid-reach. Tom's fresh start read Linda's lopsided Sharpie script from their junk drawer. Beneath Medicare Part B pamphlets lay her Martin guitar, finished peeling where her silver ring had scratched the fretboard. Neighbors called cops at 2 a.m. hearing siren wails. They found Tom by the trash cans feeding 9806 tax returns to a turquoise flame bonfire. Officer Bryant, grandson of his old bridge partner, watched silently as fire consumed the photo from their law firm's ribbon cutting. "Magnolias bloom early in Asheville this year," the officer remarked, tossing a Buffalo Trace label into the blaze. 2 weeks later, Tom surveyed the bedroom's naked walls, folding floral print sheets into a banker's box. Michael's FaceTime call interrupted the goodbye ritual. "Dad, sure about that cottage? Zillow says foundation issues." His son's paralegal voice needled like the divorce announcement call. Tom angled the laptop away from his trembling hands. "Attic's cleared for your baseball cards." 3 seconds of silence. Exactly how long Linda took choosing his Christmas ties. The U-Haul arrived at 6 a.m., tires splashing April slush. Tom traced the chipped green paint on the truck door, relic of Michael's college move-out. Curtains twitched as he bungee-corded his 1982 Schwinn to the bumper. At last moment, he returned to the garage wall where Linda's Sharpie measurements charted Michael's youth. The age 14 line survived beneath yellowed tape. Tom ripped the plastic growth chart free, rolling it tight into his windbreaker pocket. Highway 80's next gas 200 miles sign glowed pink in dawn light. The guitar hummed on the passenger seat, its strings vibrating with memories of letters left in Reno Tahoe's bus depot. A Blue Ridge Parkway tour ticket fluttered from the glove compartment, whispering against the floor mats like forgotten vows. The highway twisted like a rattlesnake through Nevada's hills, asphalt gleaming under April sun like wet snakeskin. Thomas bit the inside of his cheek, refusing to glance at the speedometer's 73 milliamps, 3 miles over his self-imposed safety limit. The guitar on the passenger seat rattled along with "Come Together," playing for the 287th time since the cassette auto-rewound. He leaned down to fish his coffee thermos from under the driver's seat when a violent jolt shoved the Civic left. His heart slammed against his ribs like a grandfather clock's pendulum. "Son of a..." spilled out before he checked the rear view. A reefer truck roared past, swirling autumn leaves in its wake. Strange for April. Only then Tom noticed the donut tire caked in dust on his right rear axle. Bighorn Rest Stop reeked of onion rings and diesel. The growl of 18-wheelers drowned his Honda's engine tick as Tom rolled the spare past truckers. His hands remembered the motions, 30 years back teaching Michael to change tires on that lemon Ford Pinto. Now his knuckles creaked like unoiled door hinges. "Need help, old-timer?" A man in a Stetson and Wranglers labeled Bud squatted down, toothpick dancing. Tom shook his head, torquing lug nuts till his lower back protested. "Got it, thanks." His stiff-necked nod cracked like glow plugs on a cold morning. "Look like honest working folk." Bud kicked the blown tire. "Widowed?" Tom's hands froze on the jack, saliva turned syrup thick. "Divorced. 5 years. Bud produced a fresh toothpick. "My Martha ran off with her dentist, took the Coonhound and my Fleetwood Mac vinyls." He eyed the guitar case. "Road musician?" "Retired attorney." Tom yanked the jack handle. The Honda settled with metallic groans. Bud adjusted his hat, chuckling. "Asheville bound. Town's nothing but hipster tats and arthritis-ridden retirees now. Good luck finding your tribe." Utah bled into Colorado at sunset. "Welcome to colorful Colorado," glowed in headlights, mocking tourist brochure rainbows. The highway now wound through sandstone cliffs burning orange like Earth's core. At Grand Junction's Conoco, Tom splurged on a double whopper. Sticky fingers entered his PIN. $117.42.83 blinked. 9 days till pension deposits. Coffee sloshed when a horse trailer braked hard ahead. "Hey, Pops, your gas cap." A pink-haired girl leaned from a Ram pickup, nails glittering with tiny fenders. Blood rushed to Tom's cheeks. "Appreciate it," he gruffed, snapping the cap shut. "You play?" "Drummer for Acid Grannies." Her engine roared. "That axe of yours screams midlife crisis." The Starlight Inn's neon flickered arrhythmically like an ICU monitor. Room 14 stank of mildew and Lysol. Tom arranged his nightstand. Lisinopril left, melatonin right, Linda's 87 photo between them. Weather Channel warned of Asheville storms. The meteorologist pointed at red blotches over Blue Ridge Parkway. Tom checked his Weather Underground app. 80% precipitation tomorrow. His thumb auto-dialed Michael. "Dad, everything okay?" His son's voice sounded muffled, like talking through aquarium glass. "Fine. Just confirming you got the Nolan Ryan rookie cards." Pause. Sigh. "Came yesterday. Listen, Becky's thinking of flying out for Memorial Weekend. If you're settled..." Rain drummed the roof, swallowing words. Tom choked the phone like a steep curved steering wheel. I've got the crib set up. Playroom too. Good. We wouldn't want... The call died in static. Tom counted ceiling cracks radiating from the music note lamp. 39 fissures. His dream featured a lightning-split spruce, roots strangling Linda's guitar while she laughed in an apple blossom sundress, perched high. Morning brought a blocked number's shrill ring. Tom grabbed the phone mid-cough. "Mr. Robertson, Evelyn from Asheville Realty." Her voice wavered. "There's flooding. The foundation..." He stopped hearing. Sunlight shattered through window blinds. Metallic blood taste. He'd bitten his tongue. Rain warped I-40 into watercolor streaks. Tom entered Asheville under thunder's timpani, white-knuckling the wheel at 55 mph. His street was barricaded with orange cones. "Nothing we can do." The trooper's flashlight illuminated washed-out asphalt. "Creek changed course. Your road's riverfront property now." Tom stepped into the downpour. Icy water seeped into Costco socks through his soaked Skechers. His phone buzzed. Chase Bank alert. Security deposit non-refundable per force majeure clause. The guitar on his back jangled like cowbells on loose livestock. He turned to the Civic's back seat, where Linda's Fresh Start care package bled blue ink. A air horn blast startled him. Senior Express bus number 22 idled nearby. Windshield sign reading, "Blue Ridge Autumn Foliage Tour." Fuchsia rain-coated grannies waved through fogged windows while the driver jerked a thumb toward empty seats. Tom checked his Apple Watch. 4:23 p.m. 7 minutes since his blueprint vaporized. Heart rate 112 BPM. He stepped toward the bus, then halted, adjusting guitar straps. Rain trickled down his collar as Airbnb's Book Tonight field mocked him. The final listing showed a 1950s hunting cabin, no heat, 189 night. The iPhone slipped from wet fingers into a puddle with a defeated plop. Tom stared as bus doors hissed open behind him. "Hey, guitar grandpa!" pierced the rain curtain. "We've got bunk space!" Thomas turned so sharply, his guitar case thwacked the back of his head. Rain blurred his glasses into milky lenses, but he could make out a figure in a yellow slicker waving from a gray van's doorway. His legs carried him forward before pride could object, worn sneakers sliding across rain-slicked clay. The soaked backpack of medication bounced against his lower back in rhythm with his steps. "Thanks, he began as the van lurched forward, slamming him into a cracked leather seat that smelled of lavender and polyurethane. "Don't thank me yet." The driver spun the steering wheel to avoid a downed stop sign, her hands steady in fingerless wool gloves. "Rosie here collects lost old birds. Last month we hauled a drunk Shriner clown from the county fair. His damp fingers fumbled for a seatbelt, brushing against a box of tea bags labeled "Calming Mint for Restless Souls." Through the distorted speakers, a rock version of Pachelbel's canon fought the storm's rhythm. "Marjorie Brandt, but everyone calls me Ginger." She eyed his soggy New Balances. "Starlight Inn? Saw you gaping at their neon treble clef sign? Tacky as hell, I know." Thomas nodded, wiping his glasses on a shirt tail. The van's heater made his soaked clothes steam. He caught himself counting freckles on her neck, 7, like the Big Dipper. "I need Pine Street Children's Home," he blurted, remembering the AmeriCorps pamphlet. "The music therapy program." Ginger barked a laugh, shedding her raincoat to reveal a sleeveless Rush t-shirt. "That dump's knee-deep in mud. Sarah, the director, used to steal my rhubarb jam. You're bunking with Earl tonight." The van rocked up a dirt road to a peeling craftsman house. A sign swayed on the porch. Auto repair and existential consultations. Ginger jangled a skeleton key. "Earl, fresh meat." A grease-stained face emerged from a Model T's hood. $10 or your best failed marriage story," said the man, gold tooth glinting. Thomas reached for his wallet. Ginger grabbed his wrist. He's joking. Welcome to Casa del Whack Jobs, Guitar Grandpa. You get Mildred's room. Last tenant left after her ghost sang show tunes. The interior smelled of motor oil and Stricon pine. Birdhouses crowded shelves beside Nietzsche paperbacks. Thomas tripped over a crate of jazzy Mozart vinyls, nearly crushing his fender. Bathrooms past the Nixon-era crockpot, Earl called, pointing at stairs painted like piano keys. Dinner's at 7. Lose the wet socks unless you want toe fungus. The attic room held a cot and a warped window. On the wall hung a faded photo of a woman in 1940s slacks cradling a Martin guitar. Thomas traced the flaking frame. Mildred, 1943. He lined up his pill bottles on an orange crate nightstand. His Apple Watch showed 112 BPM. When Michael's call lit his cracked phone screen, Thomas declined. Downstairs, pots clanged. Over mystery stew, he learned Ginger taught kindergarten music before retirement, while Earl once toured with Grateful Dead's road crew. Fender case, early CBS era? She crunched a carrot. My '82 boyfriend had one. Dumbass traded it for a Harley. Thomas poked at a meat lump resembling his ex-wife's meatloaf. X gave it to me, for my fresh start. Earl snorted, pouring hooch into Earl Grey cups. New beginnings are like day-old donuts. Only the first bite's sweet. That night, wind moaned through sheet music curtains. Thomas reached for his guitar but found a ring box under the strings. Linda's note. For the musician you became, forgive me. His chest ached despite the beta blockers. Morning brought Folgers and Creedence Clearwater Revival. Sarah called, Ginger said, stirring oatmeal. Your mildew palace needs till Friday. She eyed his wrinkled button-down. Let's play tourist. Their town tour revealed yoga studios and old banks and CBD gelato shops. Ginger braked at a Quonset hut. Dirty Shirts Choir, altos rehearse by the porta potties. At Greenski Grocers, she halted his wallet. Jeff hates cash. Grab the organic kale. He thinks it's commie lettuce. The flooded cottage looked surreal under afternoon sun, teenagers kayaking through what was once his living room. Thomas's lower back spasmed. His Vicodin sat in Rosie's glove box. Cherokee elders called floods the earth's tears, Ginger said, handing him chrysanthemum tea. Might be a blessing. He sipped bitterness. I had spreadsheets, agenda items. Now I'm... Linda's voice hissed in his skull. You'd schedule your own funeral by Outlook. That evening, Michael's voicemail greeted him like a telemarketer. Thomas placed his phone beside Mildred's photo. Her smile understood. Earl's garage reeked of carburetor fluid and patchouli. As Dire Straits played, the old man soldered a Philco radio. Last music guy died playing Hendrix, Earl said, handing Thomas a soldering iron. Keep your hands busy. It's cheaper than therapy. By midnight, Thomas had built amplifier prototype number 1 from spare parts. His fingers smelled of solder like childhood model rockets. In dreams, Mildred played his unfinished ballad, notes swirling as autumn leaves through broken glass. Saturday's concert meant facing 20 foster kids in a church basement. Thomas gripped his guitar like a crucifix. This is about trees, he rasped. The first chord wheezed. By measure 5, a string snapped. His bleeding fingers found the melody somehow. A girl in Coke bottle glasses hummed along. They don't need perfect, Ginger whispered backstage. They need real. In the supply closet, Thomas found a box labeled Marion, music notebooks filled with red-inked Too Late and Try B minor. He nearly dialed Linda's number. Instead, he called the volunteer coordinator. 10 a.m. tomorrow, the voice said. Bring something louder than a kazoo. That night storm painted lightning portraits on the hills. Ginger brought 2 mason jars of hard cider. Mildred died at 26 TB. She pointed upstairs. Her Gibson vanished after the funeral. Ghosts hide in strange places. They clinked glasses as Earl howled along to Losing My Religion. Know anyone with creaky joints? Thomas asked, polishing his lenses. Ginger cracked her knuckles. Honey, stiff bones are our local currency. At midnight, his flashlight revealed attic wall carvings. Play for their applause. Die. Play for your pulse. Live. MB 45. Dawn brought Earl banging on his door with a spark plug. Your Civic's crying. Think cars miss their old owners? The garage smelled of motor grease and disappointments. Thomas ran fingers over his car's hail-dented roof. Ginger arrived with world's okayest mechanic mugs. Sarah called. City Hall wants your swamp house. Bring a lawyer and a stiff drink. The courthouse hallway displayed pioneers holding guitars instead of muskets. The disaster relief director, a former Rolling Stone editor with a Leonard Skinner neck tattoo, Thomas clamped down on the folder until the paper corners bit into his palm. The words community garden scratched at his throat like bad whiskey. Same damn phrase Linda had used when she wanted to rip out his vintage wine cellar. His fingers instinctively grazed the wrinkled lease agreement in his jacket pocket. The 6 clauses in microscopic font now felt as substantial as a grocery list scribbled during happy hour. Per Section 12A of Municipal Code, he began with the baritone that once made hedge fund managers blink. The redevelopment director cut him off, tapping a pencil topped with a fender pick. We're valuing your cottage at $120K, generous for waterlogged sheetrock. Ginger whistled through her teeth, squinting at the ceiling medallion shaped like music staffs. My first husband's head full of scrambled eggs went for more at auction. Thomas's gut clenched, remembering the Starlight Inn's water heater that howled like a scorned woman last winter. 3 months' rent plus security deposit had already shredded his savings like Velcro on a dog groomer's apron. But that sanctimonious civic betterment phrase left acid reflux burning his throat. I'll need to review this with counsel, he lied, still hearing Michael's final text ping. Dad, up to my ass in health code violations. Earl looked up from jiggling an outlet with a butter knife. City Hall's soft on musicians. Back in '93, they let Ted Nugent. This ain't Woodstock. The director slammed his pencil onto the flood zone map. Offer expires Tuesday. Then we eminent domain your ass. In the van, Thomas crushed dandelion heads along Route 9. The lease agreement in his fist became pulp beneath white knuckles. Ginger drummed the wheel to Bohemian Rhapsody in what might have been Klingon. Earl taught the comptroller's nephew power chords behind a Bass Pro Shop, she shouted over the guitar solo. Kid preferred kickbacks to B.B. King. Home again, Thomas crammed the insurance folder into the microwave, a gesture so absurd it curdled his stomach. A post-it on expired Greek yogurt read, Sarah's waiting by the baby grand. Don't make the old gal cranky, rebel. Harmony House reeked of dollar store crayons and crushed goldfish crackers. Sarah greeted him by the gutted piano, her maple cane tapping quarter notes. Our kids think Mozart's elevator muzak, she said, nodding at teens butchering TikTok dances. But they'll sit still for codgers with outlaw stories. Thomas shouldered his Stratocaster like live artillery. The amp's feedback screech made him turtle into his jean jacket. Some prepubescent demon slid a drumstick across the strings, unleashing a sound like nails down a chalkboard. Picks got stolen. Improvise. Sarah tossed him a butter knife crusted with, I can't believe it's not butter. Chaos ensued. Lil Trevor tried igniting a miner with a Zippo. Twin terrors Maya and Lila bawled over fingerpicking. A purple-haired savant shredded Mississippi John Hurt riffs on a 3-stringed fiddle. When Thomas squeezed his eyes shut, hunting for knockin' on heaven's door chords, porcelain shattered. Marian knelt amidst Norm grandma mug shards, her silver streak glowing under fluorescent hellscape lighting. "My hip replacement despises Dylan," she said, wrapping debris in a G-clef handkerchief. Retired before No Child Left Behind murdered social studies. Their fingers brushed retrieving a shard-tagged G. For 3 breaths, Thomas forgot code enforcement existed. 9:03 p.m. in the Starlight Laundromat. The insurance letter shook in his hands. Expiration synced perfectly with City Hall's deadline. Municipal legalese warred with Marian's laugh lines, those crow's feet that outshone any zoning notice. "Beanie weenies?" Ginger shoved a can labeled Apocalypse Mix at him. "Ambrosia of has-been roadies." Thomas slid the code violations folder her way. On a napkin, his trembling hand scrawled Article 3.7, Right to Preserve Blues Heritage, in ketchup. Earl emerged from flashlight guts, bellowing, "They're ambulance chasers deathly allergic to bees. Hives under City Hall'll make 'em jitterbug." That night, Thomas climbed his Econoline's roof with guitar and maglite. Asheville's stars mocked him with sheet music patterns. He choked on the line roots dig deeper than property lines. Below, Marian fed strays while humming Midnight Rider. Their shadows waltzed until storm clouds ate the moon. 8:47 a.m. Tuesday. Thomas stormed City Hall clutching a mixtape and Graham's quilted purse as a briefcase. The director gagged on his everything bagel when children's voices warbled Thomas's ballad through crackling speakers. Under the 1984 Appalachian Music Preservation Act, he slammed AmeriCorps paperwork on the desk. "This shack's a heritage site." Ginger snapped photos with a disposable camera. "Press," sharpied on her trucker hat. Earl buzzed in a beekeeper suit, winking at wide-eyed secretaries. "Your bees!" The director paled as Marian mauled the lobby Steinway, transmuting Moonlight Sonata into honky-tonk redemption. Morning brought a courier in Stevie Ray Vaughan pajamas. The cease and desist letter bore a crayoned P.S. "Your F4 saved my bee. Percy, drainage." Sunlight pierced Earl's garage where Thomas soldered amp wires. Marian arrived with cinnamon rolls and a Chilton's Guide dog-eared at Resurrections. "Dissonance is music's wrinkles," she said, adjusting his pick grip. "Wear 'em proud." When their hands brushed over circuit boards, Thomas realized he hadn't checked his bank app in days. His phone hibernated beneath a World's Okayest Grandpa mug from the Hellion twins. That night, digging through Bush's best cans, he found Linda's 2014 note in a Folgers tin. "Floodrider policy I nagged about covers 63% losses. Told ya." His laugh startled Marian's tabby mid-sermon at the compost heap. Somewhere, a water heater sang bass. Thomas stood at the CVS Minute Clinic kiosk, squinting at the fine print on vitamin bottles, his fingertips still trembling from this morning's guitar lesson. That Lulu girl kept trying to stick a pick up her nose instead of strumming. "Biotin for hair or calcium for bones," he mumbled, jabbing at the keypad. The sterile scent of Purell blended with Wrigley's spearmint gum lingering from the last customer. "Glucosamine chondroitin," came Marian's voice behind him. She propped open the glass door with her elbow, clutching a 9 Lives cat food box. Your pinky lingered on that high C3 beats too long. Arthritis hates first position. He spun around, knocking over a Band-Aid display. The gauze roll unraveled across the linoleum like a jet contrail. Marian caught it mid-air while steadying the falling Neosporin packs, a conductor orchestrating life's petty catastrophes. Thomas adjusted his Warby Parkers, that nervous tick hardening into armor lately. "Just precautionary. Doc says at my prime." Her laugh lines deepened as she opened a quilted coin purse stitched with treble clefs. "My first husband died proving 50-year-olds could snowboard. Now I choose wiser rebellions." They stepped into October's breath, swirling maple leaves like discarded sheet music. Thomas carried her Purina bag though his own shopping list remained untouched. The sidewalk crack before Harmony Youth Center formed a perfect bass clef where concrete met resolve. Think Einstein's relativity explains why Saturday's 2 p.m. feels longer than Tuesday's 4. Marion paused beneath the Music Heals plaque, brushing off cobwebs spun during budget cuts. Thomas held his breath, pulse syncing with the Yamaha metronome left in Sorona's practice room. 132 BPM, same tempo as the anniversary waltz Linda never learned. Because teenage drummers warp space-time, he ventured, shifting his Fender strap. Her laughter warmed the lobby's acoustics. Trevor, the blue-haired troublemaker, dropped his mandolin at the sound. The aroma of Starbucks via packets and Costco almonds, bribe rewards for incident-free rehearsals, clung to stale air. By 7 p.m., folding chairs and tangled instrument cables formed modern art installations. Marion arranged sheet music on stands, her fingers tracing staff lines like Braille. Thomas tweaked amp knobs, catching her reflection warped in the Marshall speaker. Suddenly, she's 1973 young, back when this guitar still smelled of Lennon's imagination. Your G-sharp's making the woofer shudder. She traced dust from the amp's edge. Perfect imperfection. Flawless is forgettable. The rehearsal crescendoed into chaos. Cello crashes, misplaced pizzeria menus, Trevor plugging his Stratocaster into the Keurig. Thomas mopped his brow with an Aspen dental napkin when Marion slid onto the Baldwin Baby Grand. "Count us in, Mr. Robertson." Her hands descended, conjuring chords that silenced even Trevor. Notes flowed like Colorado spring melt, washing away fear. Kids leaned in, instruments rising like periscopes. During break, he found her behind the dumpster rolling drum tobacco with peppermint oil. Smoke rings merged with breath clouds in the constellation-flecked sky. "Quit in 82, she offered the hand-rolled cigarette. He declined. Sometimes rebellion tastes better than victory. My rebellions fit Municipal Code subsection 12A. His chuckles surprised them both. Orion's belt glimmered like a staff waiting for notes. Trevor burst through the fire exit, guitar cables scarfing his neck. "Yo, Grandpa, your amp's buzzing like Nana after boxed wine." Midnight found them sipping celestial seasonings in Marion's studio apartment above PetSmart. Books avalanched across the upright Kimball. A calico named Aria snored in a cello case. Thomas eyed the dresser photo, young Marion with a Hemingway look-alike before Niagara Falls. Jonathan, she shifted the frame to make room for mugs, said topography was Earth's symphony, drowned composing Lake Michigan limericks. He traced the photo's lacquered edge, some boyish part resenting the dead poet until Aria nuzzled his pocket for fancy feast crumbs. At 3 a.m., walking home past shuttered Starbucks and 24-hour laundromats, Thomas detoured to Miller's Creek. Moonlight rippled like steel strings. He dialed his son's number, ignoring the banking app's red alerts. "Dad, it's 1 a.m. our time. Everything okay? Add the brown sugar last in your BBQ sauce." Words tumbled out before courage faded. "And the bistro? Proud doesn't cover it." Silence hummed louder than any reply. Somewhere in Phoenix, Linda was probably losing alimony checks at blackjack. Here among fireflies, a new melody emerged, tentative, raw, yours.